what's up you guys, and welcome to another video here on the channel, which is hopefully going to help you in some capacity moving forward in your career. I did a video recently all about how to get ahead in the gaming industry, and it was met with really positive responses from you guys. So I thought I'd do another video right now all about my top tips about how to ace an audition. I'm really lucky as part of my career that I get to work in front of camera regularly. Aside from YouTube and Twitch and things, I also get the opportunity to work on my own TV show. I host a TV show here in the UK. I work on live events and branded content and all kinds of different things. Ultimately, I'm classed as a talent. But I didn't get here by just winging it and hoping for the best. It has been a long time in the making. It took me a long time to get there. It wasn't a case of overnight success. It's been grinding over the last, I don't know, like 10 years. I mean, believe it or not, I started out way back when as an actor. Well, I used to think I was an actor. Wasn't great, but I started out as a kid. I think my first acting role was when I was about 12, 13. I went to a drama school here in the UK. I started working, did some stuff for the BBC, did some other little bits here and there, but when I got to about 17, 18, I kind of thought to myself that acting wasn't really for me. I always felt I was getting overly nervous. I wasn't well prepared. It's a very, very difficult industry in the respect that unless you've got that experience or got that network, it's really hard to get ahead. But in terms of presenting where I got to today, it's all come from learning as I've got. I did a presenting course. Long story short, I started getting my CV show out there and things just happened. Long time coming. Finally, here I am giving some tips and things to you guys. A lot of times I felt very deflated about where I was going, how my career was gonna open up and suddenly a big thing would happen. You know, it's all about when you first start out, it's all about looking for that big break, okay? It's been talked about ever since the dawn of time, okay? The big break comes and suddenly, bish bash bosh, you're the face of everything. You're on billboards around the world. That big break can come in many different shapes and sizes these days. God bless the internet. God bless you. Because it's very different to the way things used to be. When I first started out trying to get into the likes of T4, which was a British TV show, it was like the thing you wanted to be on as a youngster. There was like 4 or 5 presenters. That was the thing you wanted to be on. That was the big break. I wanted to get onto that. But my career skewed off in a different direction. TV wasn't getting as much funding anymore. Suddenly gaming became huge. The internet was massive. And here I am. This is exactly how it came to be. But in terms of you guys, when it comes to interviews, auditions, there are some things that I've learned along the way. Some real key things that I've learned on my journey, which I think will definitely help you. Some of them sound really, really simple, but trust me when I say this, each and every one of them will come in handy, one way or another, because without all these things, it might be a bit of a struggle. Tip number 1, be positive and optimistic. This is arguably the hardest thing on my list of things that you need to try and do, because so often you can be downhearted. It was a lot of work trying to convince my parents that I wanted to do what I wanted to do, because they came from an academic background. Particularly my dad was very much about academics. My mum had a career as well, but none of them were very familiar with the acting world or presenting or video games for that matter. Video games will never make you money. And now it's like, yeah boy, things have changed obviously. But for me, one of the biggest things you can do is be positive and optimistic. You get knocked so many times and you will get knockbacks. You will get knocked all the time. It's not a random thing. It's not just you. When you go for things, sometimes you just don't fit the bill. There is very strict criteria sometimes. Sometimes it could be a case of, we want a girl, not a boy, not a girl. That is 50-50 of the population right there can't audition for something or get cast for something, okay? It comes down to skills that you might have, experience that you might have. There are lots of different factors, okay? You will get knockbacks. You got to get yourself back up, remain positive, and be optimistic, okay? If one thing doesn't work out, then be working on something else. And make sure not to put all your eggs in one basket, guys. It's so easy. It's so easy to think, that's what I want to do in my future. I want to be that person. I want that job, that opportunity. It might take quite a few turns, twists and turns, chicanes here and there to get where you want to be. It's not going to happen overnight in most cases, all right? It really is a case of trying your best to remain optimistic, getting yourself out there and remaining in the forefront. The last thing someone wants when you go for an audition or a casting is you going, yeah, right, yeah, it's my 6th audition of the week. Every family member, friend, pet might say to you, ooh, when you're gonna get that big break of yours, ooh, you're 20, you're 21 now. It's pretty much time to give it all up, isn't it? No, like people don't understand sometimes the industry you're working in. Okay, if you've got friends, school friends, family, they may have no familiarity with what you're doing and what you want to do with your career in front of camera. All right, so that alone, they have no idea what you're talking about half the time. Don't use them as your basis for making your decisions, what you're doing professionally. Look to idols, reach out to people that you respect, that you love, that you want to be surrounded by. Maybe find friends in the same field as yours who are all got the same mindset. Those are people that you can really bounce off of and get that positivity you might need. I'm not saying that people in your personal life aren't helpful, but sometimes from personal experience, you got to make sure you grab it by the horns, okay? And make sure that no matter what anyone says, you're being put down. If you genuinely believe that you have the talent, you genuinely believe that you have the passion and the drive to make it in the job that you want to do, then hey, who are they to say that you can't? My second tip is do your homework and your research. Doing your research is really, really important, okay? Any homework that you can do about the job you're going for or the casting you're going for ahead of time is going to mean big business when it comes to the actual interview itself, all right? I'm very lucky. I get to work with a lot of influencers, personalities, celebrities sometimes. I get chances to work with games publishers and developers, as well as esports companies as well. And ahead of going to anything, I do my research about what I'm going to be part of ahead of that opportunity. That gives you such a lot of clout ahead of that audition, you've got no idea. So many times for me, homework, research has been absolutely massive. I've produced shows before that I didn't know much about the subject matter ahead of going to that show, but I had the confidence and the experience previously to say to myself, do you know what? I can do this. I can put the Savage stamp on this and I can make it my own. And that optimism, that positivity, and doing all my homework and research has been a massive help. So make sure every opportunity you get to do as much as you possibly can before you go for that casting. It'll be huge. Trust me. My next tip is be punctual, and if not, be proactive. There have been castings I've had in the past where I've run late for things. People run late naturally. I'm a late person sometimes. I get to things late. I hold my hands up. I plan my journeys badly sometimes. Okay, I rely on apps too much, and sometimes they let me down, okay? Punctuality is really important because it shows the client you're working with or the person you're auditioning for that you are reliable. Whatever happens, you are reliable. Plus, if you get there a bit early as well, you also make sure that last bit of research, the last bit of prep before you go into that audition or that casting. Now, I've mentioned be proactive as well. One thing that I've done in the past, which actually worked for me, particularly in my early stages of my career, if I was running late for something, I would stop off, even if I was already 10 minutes late, I'd stop off in a shop and grab like a jumbo bag of Skittles, Starburst, something kind of confectionery or sweet related. So when I get there, I'm like, I'm really sorry guys, but I got you these sweets to say sorry. 9 times out of 10, that will take the veil of hatred off people you're auditioning for. They go, oh, that's really sweet at the time to think about us like that. That's really, really, really nice. Those little things, however subtle they are, they might sound a bit cheesy, but they do make a difference. If you can be proactive in some respect and ahead of going into that audition, do something nice to make up what you've done, to acknowledge that you've been a little bit unreliable, that goes a long way with many people as well. So do make sure if you can to be proactive somehow. I say proactive, do some notes, do something in the meantime when you are running late that you can bring to that particular meeting, casting, audition, and show them that you've utilized the time that you had to really blow their socks off. Next tip, you got to dress to impress. I'm wearing a jumper that says this to show that I'm super duper smart, and that goes a long way. I'm just teasing. You got to make sure that you dress to impress on the day, okay? If you turn up looking your worst, people are going to think, I don't know. I know that shabby chic or looking a little bit like hipster and a little bit grungy, you haven't showered for 3 days or so, is cool for some opportunities, I'm sure. But for me, go in there smelling, feeling like $1 million. Because if you feel great, chances are you'll be that much better when it comes to the casting or audition. Many times I've gone along to something and I've looked around the room at other people, because you always look at other people auditioning or casting for the same role. Of course you do. You look around the room, it's being human to look at your competition. It's a savage in you. the hunter-gatherer, to look at the competition around you. It is, it's human instincts, human nature, okay? Often you'll turn up to an audition, you'll see other people dressed a certain way. If you don't feel that you're on par or you're smashing it on the day and you're dressed not as well as other people, that'll naturally give you a bit of self-doubt. This happens to everyone. It gives you a bit of self-doubt. You start thinking, oh, I'm going to suck. I don't look as good as everyone else. Oh my God. Then you go into your audition and you're going to choke. You're not going to have the best audition in the world. You're not going to be great. And you need to walk into that room feeling like $1 million. So don't forget, the moment you walk into a room, in front of a camera, in front of a production crew, whatever you're auditioning or casting for, the moment that you walk in, that is their first impression of you. Not when you actually sit down there in front of the camera and the camera press record and they start actually filming you. The moment you walk in the room, you are being watched for the audition. That is something to really bear in mind. And if you walk in there looking phenomenal, that is half the battle. Then you just got to smash it in front of camera, do really, really well, have all the experience in the world to really make sure that you smash it on the day too. But that's a whole other thing. Dress to impress, look your best, absolutely blow them away with how good you look, yo. My next tip is one that isn't always done correctly, but if you master it, you're onto a winner here. Make sure to always utilize the experience you have, whatever it might be, all right? Many times over the course of, ever that I've been auditioning and casting, being casted for things, or trying to throw my hat in the ring to actually be considered for something, I've had to utilize the experience that I've had, which might not necessarily mean much to the job at hand. Let me give you an example here, okay? Now, over the course of the last, let's say, few years, I've really excelled in the video game space, and I had great things going for me. Like I hosted a TV show for Jinx, which is about video games. I had I hosted the Activision UK blog for a long time, worked with Activision and those kind of projects. I'd worked on things like Star Wars show. I worked on all these different things from all over the place. And namely as well, I knew a lot of people that worked in the YouTube and influencer space. Now, this all came from my work with Activision, the UK blog. And we're running that for a short while. And I was working with big YouTube talent, particularly from the Call of Duty and Destiny universes, okay? Now, Legends of Gaming was a big show that I produced about 3 years ago, I think it was 2016. Legends of Gaming was a whole bunch of YouTubers, I think 22 YouTubers that we had, putting on a show for 2 days over a weekend, live audiences, gameplay, the whole shebang. Now, due to my work with those influencers, I knew that I had a backlog, a repertoire of knowledge about the influencer space and who was popular, who was hot, who was really smashing at particular games and who would do well. Watching their videos, getting a sense of who they are, what they're like, their personality-wise as well. And I utilized my work with Activision and said to the Legends of Gaming guys, yo, I could really be a part of this. I think I could produce the show brilliantly well. And I had the confidence, the optimism, the positivity. I dressed well as well. No, I had all that going, as well as the experience I brought to the table, which might not necessarily have been about, producing a big live show on a main stage, but it was production from a point that I knew about the people involved. I knew the talent space. I'd worked behind camera a lot with jobs that I'd done as well, about the likes of, kind of timings, durations, and what worked, what didn't. On gauging what an audience wants to see and doesn't want to see from other jobs I'd done, brought it all in a package to Legends of Gaming. Next thing I know, I'm producing the show, which has been absolutely incredible. Was one of the biggest experiences of my life, and a huge experience as well to produce something on that scale. So obviously I utilized experience I did have, brought it to this, and it worked out. This is something you have to do a lot when it comes to auditions and castings as well. You may come up for something which is completely out of your comfort zone, something you're not familiar with as well, something you have got no experience about whatsoever. However, if you do, make sure to think back to things you may have done that you can draw from, some energy from, to put into the new thing you're going for now. That is going to go such a long way, particularly when you're talking to producers, production teams, and talent as well. If you utilize the experience that you have, whatever it might be, and put it into every opportunity that you have, man, you're going to go some serious distance. You have got, the world really is your oyster. Next up is prepare to be tested. Every time you go for any casting, audition, interview, job, you name it, prepare for them to test you with absolutely anything. I'm not saying you're going to turn up for an audition for, I don't know, some kind of gaming show, and they say to you, can you juggle? No, you can't work here then. Not that kind of tested. I'm talking about like they're going to press buttons. I remember I went for an audition a long time ago. I went for an audition for Big Brother, okay, a long time ago in the UK. A select 100 of us from around the UK were brought to this audition to see if we cut the mustard for the masses when it came to the actual Big Brother series. And I remember turning up there, and in my application, I've been really kind of like, I remember my application form for it. I was really like, oh yeah, I'm just like a modern day Indiana Jones and this and that. And all these like real fun kind of quips about Indiana Jones, because I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan. And all these fun things, and I actually, the application form, if my audition was based on my application form, it was good. It was funny. I worked on it for a long time. It was funny. I got to the actual audition itself, and this was a season as well where they had loads of people from all over the world doing the most mental things. Remember, every person I talked to had some kind of weird job, like weird occupation. One person was like, "Oh, hey, what's your background?" "Oh, well, I was an Olympic javelin thrower, and I've been done for narcotics abuse and all sorts." And I thought, "Okay, that's sure. What do you do?" And this girl was like, "Well, I actually tell people's fortunes." And I was like, "Oh," and she goes, "In their feces, in their poo, yeah, poo fortunes." And I went, "I don't have a poo fortune skill or talent of any sort. What is this?" And I remember thinking, okay, everyone's got some kind of weird thing, and I had nothing. And that was like, "Adam Savage, can you come for your casting, please?" And I was like, "Oh God, I'm going to literally, this is done. This is game over for me." I walked in, and I remember the first thing they said to me is, "So Adam, great to meet you. Your application form says that you're like a modern day Indiana Jones. What do you mean?" I went, I like jewels, and I want to go to a cave. Treasure." They were like, "Oh, just go." I was in there for about 3 minutes, and it felt like an hour. It was awful. Hence not being on Big Brother. But you know what? Prepare to be tested. Anything you do pre-interview, pre-audition, could be brought up out of absolutely nowhere. As I mentioned earlier on, do your research, make sure you know the subject matter, bring all your arsenal to the party, and you can't go wrong. Next tip. Make them remember you and stick out from the crowd. We've kind of touched on this earlier on in the video, okay? But it really is imperative that you really make that impact when you go in for that audition or that casting. Whether you read lines brilliantly or you have that experience, if you can add a little bit of edge to your performance or to your general meet and greet with the production team that's going to be there on the day, that is going to go such a long way. We've already talked about bringing the starburst if you're running late. We've already talked about the jumbo bag of those. We've talked about dressing to impress and all that kind of stuff as well. But when it comes down to like trying to leave a mark there, trying to leave some kind of part of you that they can't forget, you're going to go far. When I first started out as a presenter, I wanted to get an agent. I thought getting an agent for me was the best thing in the world. That was like the thing that was going to make or break me. Not true. Just on the same page here, that is not true. With regards to agents, if it's an agent who you genuinely think is going to really add to your, job opportunities or auditions, then great. Many people, myself included, lasted a long time without getting an agent and still getting loads and loads of opportunities. With an agent, you may get opportunities that you didn't know existed beforehand because those companies, production teams go to them first. But always do your homework when it comes to agencies as well. If you see that yourself and the 10 million other people are on the books there, chances are you're not going to get selected for every single job. If it's a smaller agency and you've got a niche there, like you look slightly different, you've got a different background to other people, then fantastic. You have that niche that you can really bring to different auditions and castings, and they'll put you up for a lot more work. But as I said, agents aren't the be-all and end-all of the world, okay? So when I was trying to get an agent, which I thought was the best thing in the world back in the day, which it really wasn't, I thought, how can I stand out from the crowd? How can I really get out there and put myself out there? So what I did is around Christmas time, I think it was like first week of December or so, so it was around that kind of time of year, I went to every single major agency in London. There's like 10 or 12 top ones in London. I bought them all a goodie bag, Christmas goodie bag, okay, with my DVD showreel. Back then it had to be a DVD showreel. These days, they don't accept any DVDs. The game has changed. But back in the day, I had to send out loads and loads and loads of DVD showreels. In this package, had a DVD showreel, had my CV, headshot, obviously, as well as a Christmas gift and a little goodie as well. So that every time I went into one of the agencies and left my bag there, they'd not forget who I was. And someone would go, oh, this is pretty sweet. There's goodies in here, which is amazing. And I thought, okay, great. If this happens, I'll get loads of people to know who I am. They won't forget me. I'll stick out from the crowd. That would be great. And you know what? I actually kind of did. A lot of people actually wrote back to me. I tried so long to get to these people. And finally they wrote back and they kind of got in touch and they said they're not looking for someone right now. They are, and this and that. So it was really, really helpful. One agency did ring me. I got really excited and they said, sorry, we can't accept unsolicited gifts. Can you come and collect your bag, please? Can you imagine how mortified I was to go back to an agency to go, can I have my goodie bag that I gave you back, please? Thanks. Like, who does that? But, you know, that's what I'm saying. I tried to leave an impression, okay? Not saying that everyone out there should go out there and give goodie bags to everyone. What I'm saying is try to find a way that you can do something as simple as you can, which will make you stick out from the crowd. We've all heard the stories, the folk tales of how, for instance, Elijah Wood auditioning for Lord of the Rings and Frodo didn't actually have a casting, but he made a casting video of how he would play the role, how he envisaged the character, sent it to Peter Jackson. Next thing you know, he loved it, and he's in the movies. There are multiple different ways that you can stick out from a crowd. Find your niche. Find a way that you can do that and put it to good use. Honestly, you'll be surprised at just how far you get. My very last tip is the most simple tip possible. Enjoy every single second of it, all right? There is no way that you can go to an interview, casting, call, audition, whatever you want to call it. There's no way that you can go along to one and go in there and find it grueling. You have to try and find a way to enjoy this experience, enjoy this process. It is nerve-wracking. It is hard. It is gut-wrenchingly awful. It makes you feel like you're the lowest of the low at the best of times, okay? But this is all the grind. It's all about the grind getting to where you want to be. Find a way to enjoy this process. Find the little funny things and think, I cannot believe that just happened. That is mental. Even if you're a bit part in something, doing nothing particularly influential. If you're somewhere on a set, you're somewhere making tea for someone, if you're somewhere out and about in the middle of a freezing cold winter, holding some kind of blanket over someone that you really can't stand, it's all part and parcel of the game, baby. It's all part and parcel of the game. You know, one day you'll look back and you really will laugh about things, but do you know what? In the moment, enjoy it, really embrace it, because you know what? This is the stuff, these are the opportunities, now, the groundwork, which will really set you up for your future. Just enjoy everything that comes your way. That is ultimately what this is all about. It's all about experience. Everything you're doing, every interview, casting, audition, it is all making you the person that you are. It's giving you character. It's really building your personality and who you are. Embrace every single second of it. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Hopefully you've enjoyed my tips on how to smash it when it comes to auditions and castings. I'd love your feedback as well, actually. In the comments below, let me know if they helped at all, if my tips helped at all. Let me know some funny stories if that happened to you, and make sure to use this as a community platform as well to share with other people tips and tricks of your own that hopefully that will help people in future as well when it comes to their job opportunities as well. Make sure to subscribe and like the video if you have done. Take care, good luck, and I'll see you real soon. You can do it, baby. You can do it.